Hi, everybody. So, just wanted to thank everybody for making the track all the way here. When we booked this room, we didn't know it was literally going to be the end of the world. So, really appreciate it. And one of the reasons that we wanted to do in the room where everybody was using the same software was because last year when we did this workshop, we had a little bit of confusion, or it was hard to coordinate folks that were working with Mac versus Windows. And the real intent of this workshop is just expose you to the functionalities, and then to figure out how to do it in Mac is just a quick Google away. So this is really to just expose you to some of these functions. And then also, I got this when I first got my Mac computer. It's like a cheat sheet that you can get from Amazon, and it's like less than $5, and it's just for Mac. So if you are used to Windows and you want to try to do it in Mac, there's a lot of resources out there so that you can work with both. But here we'll be using Windows, and that, at least will expose you to all the functionalities. And I know that there's probably folks, it's really hard to get a workshop that will match everybody's level. So I'm sure there's people that are much better at Excel, and I hope that I don't bore you to death. And I know there's people that are, still beginning, so I hope that I don't go too fast. The good thing about having 2 hours is that we have enough time to go over the stuff and then can also explore some other stuff. As I was saying, I'm not a wizard in Excel, so I'm not going to teach you, crazy stuff. But this is just stuff that I picked up on the field, and that has made my work much easier. So I hope that it makes your work easier too. So first things first, just accept that Excel can be your best friend and worst enemy. So through a lot of mistakes, I've developed this healthy paranoia to always triple check my work with Excel. And this workshop, especially the data input part, is really to try to minimize these errors, how you can set yourself up for success when you're doing data entry, so that you can catch the mistakes a little faster, and you can, just correct them faster too. And then how to merge tables, and we're going to go a little bit about behind the rationale, why you would do a VLOOKUP versus just copy and paste from one table to the other. And then the analysis, which is mainly really pivot tables, how to summarize data, how to set it up, and a little bit of graphing. And then the reporting, how to set up the printing so it's faster and you can share your data quickly. So, moving on to the live demo. And I was just sharing with them, whoever got here later, if you can just open up your Excel that we shared. Sorry, that's comatose in here. So this is the problem that we're going to work through. These are some of the prompts. And so you were giving a data set of students, and this data contains some demographic information, academic performance, and some health risk behaviors. And we can go over the different tabs just so they can see what it looks like. And so this is the code book. Sorry that does anybody know how to make this thing not blink insane? What?
It might be the recording, so the person recording.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So this is the data set. This is the code book, right? So you have the ID, which is the unique identifier to each student that replied to the survey. It ranges from 1 to 45. You have their age. There's the question, how the question was asked. Gender, how it was coded, F for females, M for males. The GPA, ranging from 2 to 4. Drinking and smoking, we're asked, have you ever drank alcohol and have you ever smoked cigarettes? And it was asked 1 for yes and 2 for no. So that's when you see ones and twos, that's what they mean. And then any drinking or smoking, that wasn't a question that was asked, but that it's something that we're going to calculate using if statements. So it's a logic statement so that you can get to one variable that will tell you whether there's been any history of substance use or not. And then this is the master sheet. So you can see how the data looks like, which is cool to see how it was. It's translated from a questionnaire, right, to the raw data. So this is how it looks like. And you can also see that there's a gap for gender, so there's no data on gender, and there's a gap for drinking. And the last question, any smoking or drinking, which is the one that we're going to combine as well. Here we have the information for gender. It's a screenshot, and this is just sort of mimic, real life when you're given the PDF or a Word document or something that doesn't really talk with Excel. How do you enter that data in a easier way? And then the drinking, that it's in another tab, and we can assume that maybe this information was collected at a later day, entered by somebody else, so it's in a different tabs, and you need to merge those two. And you can see also, and this will come in later, that the numbers, in the master sheet, there were 1 through 25, the students, but you can see that there's some different students here, so like number 45, number 33, we're missing number 19, and that information will be important when you're merging the data, so that you need to make sure that you're not copying over somebody else's information and attributing an answer to the wrong person. All right, so for the first question, it's asking you to fill in the master sheet with the information listed on the gender sheet. So, what you could do, and this is, the minimizing the errors, you could come here, scroll, look at this one, then go over to the other tab. But this, it requires a little bit of short-time memory to keep track of what you're filling. So this is just a little bit of navigation of how you can minimize that, and you can see both things at the same time. So you can do the freeze panes. And you can freeze rows, you can freeze columns. So under freeze panes, and if you guys are having trouble following me, just let me know, or if this is too basic, just let me know too. And you can play around and pick, different columns, different rows to freeze. So I'm going to freeze this cell, and you can see how the navigation is going to change. So now it's holding the ID column in place, so that when I scroll right, that column stays in place. Yeah?
Sorry, for me, freeze panes is gray.
Huh. It's gray. Can you try to click on the cell and just click?
One on the master?
Yeah, on the master sheet.
Okay, never mind.
No problem.
So you click on the cell and you put freeze panes.
Yeah, so you click on freeze panes, and you can click on the little tab right there. There's a little arrow pointing down. That tiny little arrow. Sorry that my mouse is just crazy. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. So it's always moving that way. Yeah. But you can play around. You can freeze a row. You can freeze a column. You can see how things move around as you freeze them. You can freeze down to a cell, and you can see what stays in place and what moves around.
Wait, sorry, I didn't see what that actually did.
Okay, so here. So I'm going to unfreeze it. And you're going to see that if I scroll, the ID disappears. You see? And if I come back, the ID shows up. And then if I go down, all my variable names disappear from my view. And if I come back up, they show up again. So if I were to freeze this cell, what's going to happen is it's going to freeze this column, and it's going to freeze all the rows up top, the whole row up top. So that's what's going to happen.
So you're on the age. So when it says
Exactly, yeah. And this is, yeah, and I need to show the headings, so now you can see. So it's exactly cell B2. So that's the cell that I'm going to be freezing. So now when you scroll, left, right, up, and down, age, all the variable names stay in place. And this is particularly helpful if you have 200 observations and you're scrolling up and down and you want to still know which row, where you are, So this is so I'm entering the ID and the gender, so I'm filling in the gender. So I'm going to move it, if I just move one over, now I can see exactly the ID and the gender columns. You guys see that? And so I don't need to be scrolling back and forth and getting lost. Yes. And then another thing that you can do is up there that says new window. If you click on it, what's going to happen is that it's going to open a new window of the same file that you have right here in orange, new window. So you can see the same document in two windows now. And then if you go under, right behind it, below it, arrange all, and you click on it, and you can say arrange vertically, right there, and you click OK. Now it's opening the same, it's arranging the same file, but there's two windows of the same document, and you can see them side by side.
Can you tell me where arrange all?
Yeah, it's right under new window. So if you see the new window up top, arrange all is the second one.
It might be different on your, it's different on my computer. So make sure that you're in the view tab.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like,
Oh, okay.
So you see the arrange all.
Yes. And yeah, which one do you tile?
You can experiment. You can see, vertical or horizontal. I think it would be easier here to do vertical so that you can see both side by side a little closer. And then on my left side, I'll keep the master sheet. And on my right side, I'm going to go under here, which is really small, and I'm going to go over the gender tab. Right here, the gender tab. So now, and the master sheet here,
you just copy paste.
I can't because this is a picture.
Sorry.
And that was on purpose. I'm going to get this a list. Okay. And you can see that when that particular window is selected, the other one will gray out, so you can see exactly which one you're working on. And you can go back between the two of them. So you see now that I've decreased a lot of going back and forth, and I can see both files that I have that I'm working on. And so that makes it already a lot easier to enter that information, so I can see, where's the gender? Oh, this is not, sorry. This one here is not frozen. Let me freeze this pane. Okay, so now I have, I'm setting myself up for really decreasing scrolling back and forth, tagging along between two windows. I have both things that look exactly the same. I have ID and gender on one side, ID and gender on the other side. So then now I can, easily start inputting that data, and I can see and I can check as I'm going, right? So this is one thing, and this is just a navigation. Did everybody manage to get these two windows and have everything? Okay. So I'm going to close this one, because now let's assume that you're entering something much bigger. You're entering, it's not like an F or M, but you're entering like a name or something, or you have like multiple options of things that you need to enter. So I'm going to teach you how to do a drop-down menu that you can select from that drop-down menu what is the answer you want, and that can make things much easier too. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to start by going to a new tab, and I'm going to call this tab here drop-down menu. I'm a big fan of naming all my tabs so that I can keep track of where things are. So drop-down menu. And I can have all my drop-down menus here in this tab. And I can do, gender in this case. And we have female and male. So this is going to be the basis of my drop-down. And if you had 15 categories, 17 names, whatever, you could just list them all here. And I put on this separate tab, and if you're going to circulate this file, you can always hide this tab so that people can't mess around with it and change things around. So what you can do is you just right-click on the tab itself and click hide. and that will hide your drop-down menu. So people will think it's magic, even though it's not. So now you go back to your master file, and you select, go ahead.
Sorry, I hit it and now I don't know how to unhide it.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just click on this tab and you right click again, and if you have something hidden, it will give you this option that is grayed out, unhide tab, and it's going to give you the tab that you just hit. Found it?
Yeah, because the name completely disappeared, so I didn't know where.
Yeah, I was
We got hit tab.
So now you go back to your master sheet.
so good at computers.
Believe me, it's not easy. So these are the, and I'm just going to clean this because these are the ones that I had entered before.
Sorry, one question. So we add the drop down on the original sheet, right?
No, you created a new sheet and you call that sheet drop down.
No, I know, but I mean, you know how we have two windows open?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it's the original window, right?
Oh, you can close either window, and then you can just work with just one window now. Yeah, and yeah, I mean you can do that. It might make things easier if you want to keep two windows open and look at two different. But
So we just open the other window so we can look at the screenshot of gender.
exactly, yeah.
Well, and it's really interesting that it takes like the drop down on both.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you can see right here these ones that are grayed out because I only have one window. But you can see these little two little sheets and two little sheets with like a window with an arrow going up. This is how when you have two windows open, you can sync them. So if you're scrolling through one, it's scrolling through the other, and you can keep track of two windows. You see like these grayed out right here? So the second one, it's syncing them as you scroll just vertically. The second one, you see the two sheets and like a little window, that's syncing them just horizontally. And the first one is syncing them both horizontally and vertically. So you can, just depends what you're working with. And you can play around with those. So now we're back to just one sheet. And we're just trying to put drop-down menus to this gender variable. And so what we're going to do is we're under View, and now we're going to click on Data. And then we're going to go to Data Validation. You see this little Data Validation? It's under Data. If you were on the View function up here, you need to go to the Data. Can you guys find that?
Everything's grayed out.
It's grayed out under Data.
Maybe I should try it on this one. Oh yeah, that one's not grayed out.
Under Data. Right? So if you were in View, now you're in Data. And then you need to select all the cells that you want to have the drop-down menu in. See how all my cells are selected? Because maybe some things are grayed out because you don't have any cells selected, and then once you have a cell selected, then the functions will open themselves to you. And then you click Data Validation. You see right there in orange. And then here, under Settings, it will tell you what is the criteria that you want your data to be validated. What do you want to restrict? And you can be, a whole number. So if you have like a tab that says age, and you have somebody doing data entry, and that person enters a name for age, it will give them an error message like, no, not here. So you can do that stuff to, kind of minimize data entry errors. So it's like really protecting yourself. But what we're going to do, great. So what we're going to do is list, because we want to do a drop-down menu. Under list, you can see that in-cell drop-down is already selected to you. So that's great. That's what you need. And then you're going to click on this little thing right there where my mouse is convulsing right on. And then you click on that, and it's going to tell you where's your range of values that you want to be on your drop down. So that's when we go back to our drop down tab right here, and we select female and male, and we click enter, and then we click OK. So now when you come back, you see that magically there's a little tab right there that you can have your values. So, and then, you know, to make the data input easier, again, you can go back to those views of windows side by side. You can freeze the panes again. So this really minimizes, you know, having to write a lot of stuff, or just like protects your data file from lots of unnecessary mistakes. And speaking of mistakes, you know, another thing that it's really helpful to just get like a big quick check to see if there's any outrageous mistakes. It's under filter. So you can just click filter right here. It's still on the data tab. If you click filter, you can see that it's going to give you now a little drop down on your variables. So the filter column, the filter function always filters assuming that the first row is your row titles, so or your variables. So for instance here, if we knew, so that's a way to catch like really outrageous mistakes. If we knew a range of IDs was 1 through 45, you surveyed 45 students, and you clicked here, and you scroll down, and you saw something like 117. You're like, that's not a student. That was a mistake. So you can go back to whoever did the data entry, you know, cross-check that. But the filter function is a great function to really just catch something that is not looking correct. So, and we don't need to go, you know, one by one filling out the gender, the sex information. Okay. So going back to the questions again. So this is the VLOOKUP, which is my favorite function ever. Once you master it, it's going to change your life, and you're going to find applications to this that you didn't even know you could do. It's wonderful. It's how you merge the information. So it's asking us to bring in the drinking information, so the question about did you ever drink, into the master sheet, right? And here's the master sheet, and I'm going to scroll all the way so that we can see the drinking. So ID and drinking. And I'm going to unclick the filter just because I don't want those little drop down. So you see that this is missing, right? And then I'm going to, under view, I'm going to open the new window again so we can see things side by side. And now you guys got this. So you can just click new window, arrange all, vertical, and OK. And this is my, I don't know why it does that, but usually I like to have my main sheet of the things that I'm working on to my left, but it always puts them on my right, so I'm just going to switch. And then I'm going to ask it to arrange all just to make it nice and tight. Oh, no. It switches them again. Okay, Excel. See how they can be really your best friend and worst enemy at all times. Okay. So this is the information I want to put. I don't know if you guys have it looking like this. And then in this one, I'm going to put my drinking information. Okay? So you see now, master sheet, missing data for drinking, missing variable, other sheet, ID, and drinking, right? What you could do first, like if you just wanted to get that data, what would be your first instinct to do? Copy and paste. But what happens here? You can see that this sheet has some other people, right? So row 25 here is student 29. Well, row 25 here is student 24. If you were to simply copy and paste this, you would be attributing to student 24 student 29's answer on that question. Which, if you just have 25 students, it's really easy to just look and match. But what if you had 300 students and the sheets weren't completely the same? You would have a big problem there. So the VLOOKUP function, it's basically a function that looks at a unique identifier in one sheet, and it looks for that unique identifier in another sheet and retrieves the data that you want back into the first sheet. It's amazing. It's amazing. It really is. So what you're going to do is you're going to click equal, and you're going to do VLOOKUP. And Excel sort of already, equals VLOOKUP. All right? And Excel sort of gives you the recipe to what you need. So you need the lookup value. The lookup value is basically the unique identifier. What you want that Excel can look on the other sheet and look for that value and retrieve the information you want. So we want the unique identifiers. That's what we want. And now it's saying, what's a table array? So where am I going to find this information that you want? I want you to find it on this sheet here, right? The other sheet, the drink sheet. So you're just going to go here and you're going to select these two columns, which is where the drinking information is. You see that now it's saying table array. It's on the drink sheet from A1 through B27.
Did you write in the A2?
No, I didn't. I just clicked on it and then I put a comma on it.
Why is it A2 and not A1?
Because it starts at A2. You see, ID is not a unique identifier. It's just a variable name, right?
So you did the parentheses and then you wrote
A2, comma. Sorry, I forgot to tell you guys you had to put a comma after. Yeah, you can, or also you can just click on the cell and then put a comma right after you click.
As for highlighting all of that,
Uh-huh.
did you have to highlight the ID and trait, like those two words, or can you just highlight them in numerical data set?
You know, it doesn't make a difference because it's just going to look at the ID. It was just easier to just, for the mouse position, especially because my mouse is so crazy. It was just easier, but it's just going to look at the ID. And then, so you have A1 through B27, and you click comma again. You just type in comma, and it moves already to the next thing, right? The table array, which was in bold, it's no longer in bold, and now the column index number is in bold. So this is what it's telling you is lookup value. So look at ID1 in this table here and retrieve to me the value on the second column over, right? So because I don't want, if I were to put a 1 here, it would retrieve the same value of the ID, which is not what I want. So I want the second column over. So I need to put the number 2. And then I put a comma again, and then in just Excel parlance or whatever logic they have, I want a false, which just says I want the exact match. So if by any chance they find a 1.5, I don't want the value for that 1.5. I want it for 1. So then I put then false. And then I close the parenthesis and I click enter.
Should we have any spaces between the commas?
No.
Okay.
Make it. So you see that now it just went and found the value for 2. And if anybody's can't do it, just let me know. This is just what Excel, it's just like probably some logic and computer programming. And so false means exact match, true means approximate match, but I'm not really sure where it comes from. So that's how it does it. You know, so, and if you were, let's say, to want the third column over, like let's say there's some more data, you put number 3. So it would look for that third column. Did you guys all get it?
We're just supposed to have a 2 in B2, right? That's it? Or we set the whole column?
For the range, for the table array?
You can drag it, so on the right corner, you can drag it down and it'll fill
Yeah.
out the entire column.
Yeah. You keep dragging until you get the whole thing.
The like right here, you get like when it looks like that, the mouse, and you just down. So all the commands with that first one will go down to like.
Mm-hmm.
You're an Excel wizard.
Did you guys all get it?
So what we did is we dropped down all the way down to 25.
Yes, so here's the other thing. What Excel is doing, if you look at right here, if you click on the first one, the table array that you're looking for, you can see under drink, it's A1 through B27, right? That's the table array right there, A1 through B27 on the drink tab. But if you click on the second one, it's giving you A2 through B28. What it's doing is the formula is moving down with you as you're moving down in the column, because Excel is looking for a pattern, and if you're going down in one column, it's going to be going down on the other one. So what you do to hold the array in place, because I want Excel to always look at the same array over and over again, is you go back to your file, you go back to your first formula, the first sheet, and you put between A1 right there, you put a $sign. And then you come to your B27 and you put a $sign. And then you click enter, and now it's going to hold your array in place. So, and then you, again, click here, and it's going to, oops, sorry.
So you said it was the first one, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean that it's going to hold it in place? Yeah.
It's going to hold, so before, what was doing was, on the first one, it would look for the whole array that you selected. On the second cell, the formula would move down with you. So it would not look from A1. It would start looking from A2. And you would just try to mimic, as you're going down here, it would be going down here. But that's not what you want, because you want to keep looking in the whole thing.
So say on row 11.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, say on row 11, the number for the ID was 1. Would it not find it?
It would if you kept it in the whole array.
With the dollar.
Yeah, so this function, VLOOKUP, you don't need to have your unique identifier sorted. You can have them anyhow, as long as your formula is held in place for the whole table, for the whole array.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And yeah, you can see, like, for instance, if you click on 11 here and you go 1, it changes the value for drinking, because it's now looking for, number 1. Go ahead.
Mine, this formula didn't say A1 like it did before. It said after 3, it said A2.
A2 right here.
Yeah.
That's because when you selected your array, you didn't select the first column here, the first row. Yeah, which you don't have to. It doesn't make any difference. I just did it it was just easier for me to select the whole thing with my mouse. But you can, as long as you have the unique identifiers, you can just start from there. From row 20. Let me see if you guys don't mind. Let's do it.
Sorry. Okay, so let's A2. That changed it? Did you highlight this? Okay. Maybe you should reach your formula. I did both boxes. Okay. once you sign it, you've got cells that represent ranges of this and dollar sign. Okay, so it totals VLOOKUP and then so that it looks for the whole table. Because right now it was Sure.
So what do these NAs mean then? Exactly. So maybe that student didn't show up at the other day. You guys got it on that side? Just let me know. Can always do it again. Why don't we try to do just one more time? Because this is so magical. It's worth. I'm just going to clean everything out. All right. So again, formula, it's equal VLOOKUP and I just clicked when it sort of gave me the little prompt for VLOOKUP. I just clicked 2 times on that so I didn't have to actually type VLOOKUP. So it just opens a parenthesis for me. And then what I do is I select my unique identifier, which is 1, and then I put a comma. And then I go on my other sheet, and you can see things start to just look like there's a little squiggly line. And so I select everything that I want, and then I comma on it again. And then I say 2 because I want the second column over. That's the value that I'm interested for it to pick it up for me. And I click comma again, and then false because I want. And you don't need to be. It doesn't really change if it's uppercase or lowercase. So you can just do lowercase, and then you close your parenthesis and you click enter, and so you get the value like that.
Then you go back.
Then you go back because you want to keep it steady. Exactly. You're like keep going back because that pretty much takes the need away from like having to sort your columns. You don't need to sort. It will find it anywhere as long as you're keeping the whole array in place. And this, for any formula really that you want, if you always want the same formula, dollar sign. Dollar signs can solve so many things. This is one of them right here. If you guys know what I mean. So, and then you come to this tiny little square right there. My mouse will change if you guys can see, and then you just fill in the whole thing. And then we know NA, those values are not there. And so another thing that I really like, especially if I'm sharing my report with other folks, did you get it? Okay, all right. If you guys need, we can definitely go over it again. One thing that I definitely like to do, especially if I'm circulating my files, as you can see now, I have 2 tabs that are linked because I looked for one value in one place into the other. And let's say you're circulating this, somehow the 2 tabs get separated for some reason. It will mess up the formula because they're not tied together anymore.
What if it's on different sheets completely?
Exactly. So it will mess up. It will not work.
Can you link something?
I'm sure I think you can, and if you want that, for sure. But I'm thinking more like, super simple, how to just break that connection. What you do is you select that column, right? You select that column, and then you right-click on it, and you copy it. And then you right-click again, and you see that now you have all these paste options, which are paste special. And if you click on the 1, 2, 3, what's going to do is just going to paste the values. So the formula disappeared. So you just have the values. And so anybody that is coming in, they don't know how you merge this data, it's magic. Again, it's going to make you, just super magical. But this is good to just wipe out the formulas. If you have, if you're linking multiple sheets, if you're doing stuff and you want to just circulate that, you don't want anybody to mess up with your stuff, you want people to be able to, copy and select, this is the best way to do it. You just copy and paste special values only. Do you guys want to see how I did it again? So I select right there. If I click on the F up there, it's going to select the whole column. and then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to click copy. And then again, I'm going to click on the F again, and then I'm going to right click again, and under paste options, I want to do values. And this, like, there's different ways, so you can play around with all these paste options. You could do just a formula. So if you had a formula that you want to apply to a different place, you could just, copy the formula. This one here is really good too, transpose. It's a great, you use that a lot, and I can even show you. So this here, I'm going to copy. I'm going to open another one. Right here, if you click transpose, this is like another thing that Excel is really annoying. So, the one that I clicked, that I had selected, was the whole row from beginning to end. And if I just click on the cell here, Excel's not going to like that because it's not the same size. So to paste, I need to click and select the whole row here too. And so now it will allow me. Okay, that's great. Well, that didn't work. All right. I know, yeah, but I want to transpose it. So here, let me just do it this way so you can see, because I don't even want the empty cells anyway. So if I copied just the cells with information, and I came here, and I clicked on this cell, and I clicked transpose, it's now going to give me the things that were in the column as a row. So that can be helpful. Sometimes it's helpful if you're doing something that you want to just reorganize in a different way. So you can play around with the you can play around with the copy and paste specials. There's many things. You can do just values only, formulas only, transpose the values, and so on. All right. So are we good on VLOOKUPs? Did you guys get the idea?
How do you spell that?
It's V look up.
Oh, VLOOKUP.
Yes.
Okay, so if we ever forget this,
You can always, yes, and it's so wonderful. It's so special. The paste, the transpose?
Yeah.
Let's see. So did you select what you wanted to copy? Like that?
It's not the drink.
It's whatever, just so that you can see. Yeah, so you just copy that. And then you can even do it here, like we can do it here. If you paste, transpose, now you can see the IDs are now like that. And then you can always Control Z to undo what you did.
Sorry, what did you have to do to get it to work instead of just selecting the cell?
What happened was before I was selecting the whole row, the whole column, I'm sorry. So there's a lot of empty values, and that was, Excel didn't like that. So to make it work, I just selected the values that I really wanted, I copied them, and then I came down here and I clicked on the cell, and then I right clicked and I put the transpose. So that's what I did. Got it? All right, so now pivot tables. Pivot tables? All right. So we have all our data now. We fill up our drinking. Another thing that we could do, because Excel is not going to like this NA here, it's not going to know what to do about it, you can just delete it. And if you want to get a bunch of them at the same time, instead of like going through each cell and looking if there is an NA, what you can do is under data, you can filter, and then you can come here and look for that. So let's say you wanted to change under filter, let's say you wanted to change all the blanks. So you just click on the blanks and click OK, and it's just going to give you that.
Sorry, you
Can we do that overhead?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say, again, we had, the formula, there was an NA here and an NA here because those students weren't there, right? And let's say you had 300 students and you had a couple NAs peppered around your spreadsheet, and you want to summarize that. And when you do that with a VLOOKUP, with the pivot table is not going to know what to do with the NA. It's not a number. It's going to be like, what is this? So you want to leave it to blank so that the pivot table, when you're summarizing your data, you're not counting that as an answer or anything. That is a missing value, right? So what you're going to do is under data. So if you are in view, you're going to go over the data, and then you're going to click filter. You see, you're going to click filter. So there's a little drop down on top on the first row that is going to show up. You see the little drop down?
Oh, it's the new uncheck everything.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to select all. You just click NA and you click OK. So you don't need to be scrolling down trying to find all the missing variables. You can just come here and you can just delete them.
Whoa.
So it's a great way to clean some data very quickly.
Oh, because I already deleted my NA.
There you go. You're already ahead.
Well, I just deleted that.
Sorry, you uncheck NA.
No, you uncheck. So if what you want is the NAs, so you're going to unclick the select all, and then you click on the, in my case now it's blanks, because that's the ones that you want to, filter to, and then you click OK. So now you're just going to have the stuff that you want to recode.
So then they should just disappear.
Yeah, you should just delete them in this case.
So if you, sorry, go ahead.
My whole rows disappeared when I did that.
Okay, that's probably because you selected everything. Like if you just click under select all, you unclick and you click blank. If you just touch, those cells, like don't select the whole row when you're deleting that NA.
Oh.
You just click the cell. Otherwise, it's going to really delete everything.
Okay, so one of the first cell that had NA in it.
Mm-hmm,
Click on that and then go there.
Yeah,
And then uncheck select all.
yeah. Or you can,
Or just check 1 and 2.
you can, if now, you don't want to see the missing data, you can just click 1 and 2. You can click on the filter up top, so it's going to take the filter out, so everything is back together.
So like if you had a bunch of variables, this would be an easy way to find, like let's say it was like everyone's favorite color or something.
Yeah.
You were like, I just quickly want to see how many people put yellow.
Yes, that's the first, good first brush. But pivot tables, it's going to help you quantify that a little more fancily. That's not a word. Did you guys all get it? I feel like you guys are like in the parallel class just because you're like on that side. I want to make sure that I'm, checking in with you guys too. All right, so we have the drinking information in. We cleaned up the NAs because they're not numbers, and we just set them to missing, right? So back to the questions. We want to know what's the average GPA by age. So we want to know each age of the students. So we have, different ages, and want to see the average GPA. So when we go back to the master sheet, and now we're going to go to insert. Up here, insert, and you see that the first option is pivot tables. So you just click on it. And what Excel is going to do is going to check, is this all the data that you have? Is this where you want to get the raw data from? Which is, right? So make sure that there's a little squiggly thing going over all your data, and that's what you want. So you're going to click OK, and then Excel is going to open a new tab with the pivot tables. You see this new tab, it says Sheet 3. or sheet as, whatever number you have going on there. I'm just going to click on my thing here, and I'm going to call it pivot tables on my tab. Yep. It just automatically does it. Yeah, when you just go under master sheet, if you just were to click on anything and you go insert and you go pivot table, it knows where it's blank. And then you just click OK.
You can also do that upper corner.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, usually like that works. It gets, But if you want to do it manually, what you can do is under table range, you can click on the thing and then you can go over it. You guys been able to select the whole thing? Yeah, the first it's frozen, so you can't see it here. But if I were to just do this, you'd see that everything is selected. And I'm just going to cancel because I already have a pivot table. So now you see that my little menu right there disappeared. If I click here, it shows up again. So you see that now I have on my right-hand side, I have all the variables. And this is where it's going to go. And you can, usually what I would have is just have one of these to just do quick calculations. There's like ways for you to do reports. There's ways for you to do, amazing stuff. And if you figure it out, power to you. I was never able to figure it out. The way I have it is just the pivot tables is just my quick tab to summarize my data. And then I copy that stuff and I paste somewhere else when I want to do a report. So I never really do anything that I want to have permanently on pivot tables, because somebody else can come and uncheck something, recheck something, and then whatever you had summarized the way you want it disappears. So it's not the best for a snapshot. It's a very dynamic tool that you can keep. And if you have, for instance, under pivot tables, that pink thing right up top, if you click on it, you can see that it also you can refresh the data. So if you have multiple people working in the same document, and like let's say you're an intern and you're working Tuesdays and Fridays, and there's another intern working the other days, and that intern is also entering the data. If you have a pivot table like that, and you guys are sharing the same document, what you can do when you come in, let's say you interview new students, you can click refresh, and so pivot table will go back and will get the broader range of data that has been entered and give you new numbers. So it's a really dynamic tool, which is great, but it also can be, a little funky. Are we good?
I don't have the pink.
You don't have the pink?
No.
Are you on the pivot tables tab?
That is the one with the insert? Yeah, I'm on the pivot table sheets.
Oh, yeah. So if you click on, so yours not pink.
Mine just isn't pink, but it's fine.
Yeah, everything is different with you guys. Sorry about that.
And let me know if it's like, it's not pink, it's purple, whatever. All right, so we want age. So if you click age right here, you see that I have it orange or whatever color is in yours, probably.
Sorry, where's pivot table again when you're first doing it?
Insert.
Insert.
And it's going to be the first option. Okay, so we have age, which is what we want, and we want to summarize GPA by age, right? So, and you can, there's many ways to do it. You can have age as your column, as your row, you can, whatever you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on age here, and I'm going to drag it to row labels. Sorry, this thing is like, it's blinking so much I can barely see if I'm really selecting it. Sorry. So,
I don't have row labels either. I have filters, columns, rows, and values. Oh, it's rows? Okay.
yeah. So under age, on age, you just drag it down and put it to row labels. It's going to just go down there. Can you drag it and just put it under rows? You guys got it? So you have all the ages that you have of the students from 12 through 17. This is your age. So now you want to summarize the GPA. So what you're going to do is you're going to drag GPA and you're going to go to values. But what is it doing right now? It's giving you a sum of GPA. So what's doing is basically going to every student that is 12 years old, and it's just summing their GPAs. That's like, okay, so one was 4, the other one was 3, so it's just summing them. It makes no sense. So what I want to do is under sum of GPA, you can right click on it or not. You can just actually you can just left click on it. And you're going to see that there's a little tab with options. If you just left click on it. Do you guys see that? So you're going to go to value field settings. And then you're going to do average, which is what you want. And then you're going to click OK. So now I have the average of the GPA of each student. So you can see that 13 years old is apparently when you peak in your academic career. It's the best time. You can also, like, let's say this is weird, some numbers are like just 17,000 decimal values. So what you do is under average GPA, again, you go value settings, value field settings, and then there's number format. And you can click on it. It should work, but it's okay. Then you click number, and then you can say, or number here. You want to say, I want it to round up to 2 decimal places. And then you click OK, and then OK again, and it all looks nice and cool. Yeah, let's do it. No problem. Okay, so we are under values. We got the average. We're not doing sum anymore. We click on it, and it's just a regular left click. And we click value field settings. And then we click number format. And then it's going to give you, because this is a number, I'm just going to click number. And then it's already there, 2 decimal places. And it's just going to round. So you can just click enter. And then enter again. And then you have it. Got it? So this is it. I'm sure there's like many other ways to get this data into a report, and I'm sorry that I don't know how to do all these fancy stuff, but what I do for work, and it's been very helpful, is I just select this, and then I right click on it, and I click copy, and then I create a new tab, and then I paste special. So I, right click, paste special. So I have, and it gives me the funky numbers again, and you can just come up right up there, and you can do the numbers here. Oh, sorry. You need to click, you need to say that you wanted a number. Yours did it? Yeah. Things are a little different. Paste special, yeah. And like what you can do here, like what I used to do is like you can insert another one right there, because this can be like you can just put here like report or the date that you picked up that snapshot, So like let's say report today 1/20. So when this data was last updated, when you last got that snapshot. If that is a live document, as I mentioned, that people are entering data as they're going. Go ahead.
So, can you go back to before the face?
Yeah. Sure.
So you're supposed to highlight column average GPA.
Yeah. So you just select this little thingy right here, and you right click, copy.
Okay.
And then you come down here to all the tabs. And there's going to be like a little thing right there that when you click on it, it just generates a new tab. Mm-hmm. So you click right there, and you have a new tab. Mm-hmm. And then you, under that new tab, you're going to left click again, and then you're going to paste special.
And you select,
No, you can just
just
click on the, paste special.
because when I click on paste special, it asks me to select,
Yeah, you can select the values only.
oh, value.
Yeah. And then, again, I'm sure there's ways that are way easier to do it. It's just what has worked for me. So, row label makes no sense. So you just put age here. And now, you have a tracking of that stuff. So if anybody calls you and you're like, what's the average GPA? You can say, well, since the last time that we collected the data on January 20th, this was the date, this was the average. If things change, you can go back to your pivot table, refresh in that button that I showed you guys, and get a new snapshot like that. And so I'm just going to delete the drop-down menu here.
A weird thing happened to me actually. Mine was fine in transferring.
Uh-huh.
It just had when I did the pivot table, it gave me a line 10 before the grand total. Or sorry, yeah, and it just says blank in parentheses, and then I've tried to remove it.
Let's see.
But sometimes it gives you like subtotals.
See, it just did that, and then when I tried to just
Yeah, what you can do is, it's probably like related to your, to the data that was selected, and what you can do is just under row label, just do
Oh,
this.
okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah, so you just select this, here, and you go here, and you select number. So now. This is, so when you click here, under design, it's going to give you a bunch of like fancy things that you can do. Yeah.
All right, so to the next one. And as I said before, that's why I like to just have a pivot table tab that I just have for any questions that come up. You want to calculate under B the percentage of students that had ever drank. So you go back to your pivot tables. You go back to your menu. You unclick the age and the GPA. The only variable you want is the drinking. So you get the drinking, you drag it down to row labels, and you drag the same variable, drinking, and you scroll down to values. So you see that it's giving me, under row, it's giving me the two options. There was 1 and 2, like yes and no, right? And then under the count, it's counting how many ones. It's counting the ones up, actually. So, and the 2, it's counting the 2's up. So this means, 2 divided by 2. So there's like 7 people that said no. I think. I don't know. You guys got that? So now what you're going to do is under count of drink, which is not what you want. Actually, it is what you want because you want to see the percentage. You're going to go to show values as. So it's the next tab over.
Did y'all count of any smoking or drinking come up with any numbers?
No, because we haven't added that one. Let's do that again. So under count of drink, you're going to go on value field settings. And then you see that summarize values by. And then show values as is the next tab over. And then you're going to show values as a percentage of the grand total, which is the second option. And you're going to click OK. So now you know that around 39% of the students said yes, and 60% of the students said no to that question. No? Let's check it in. So that's what I say, that this is like a very dynamic thing. So, if you were counting on that other summary and somebody else came up and just calculated something else, that initial calculation's all gone. So that's why I like to take snapshots, copy that, save that somewhere else, put the date that I took that in case, this data keeps being updated. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy it. And under my, little snapshot table tab, I'm going to paste special again. And then I'm going to put, you can make this a little nicer because it looks really ugly right now. I'm going to delete this. So this is, drinking. Drink. And then percentage. No was a 2, so 2 is no. 1 is a yes. And you see that my values are not looking very percentage right now. But if I go right there and I click on it, it's going to give me a percentage. It was just the way it came up. Yeah, it's just how you sort it, because like on pivot tables, you can do, yeah, it was sorted that way, but you can sort back right there, A to Z, Z to A. You can select things, so it applies filters already. So like for example, if you want to do a subset, so you want to see what's the percentage of students that have ever drank, but you only want to see for 12-year-olds. So you're going to pull age, and that's going to be your filter up there. And then you're going to pull up here, and you can just say, just for 12 years old. And so it's giving you the percentage. And what happens here is it's just narrowing down to 12-year-olds. And if you want to, you can select. So this is like the report filter there, which gives you subset populations, subsamples.
So my values are, I did the percentage thing, but my values are like a bunch of letters.
A bunch of letters. That's unique.
Okay. So that's because you were getting from this, which is empty. So if you unclick this one, you do the same thing.
Oh, it's the same. Okay.
There you go. So now you have it the right one.
And so then I can go percentage for value settings.
Yes.
Show value as.
Yeah, and then grand total.
Grand total.
So now you have a percentage. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, so then under questions again. So now it wants you to graph. So we're just going to do average GPA by drinking. So we go back to our pivot tables. So we want to see, just clean up our pivot tables again, unclick everything. So it's nice and empty again. And you want to see, let's say you have some hypothesis that students that have ever drank have a lower GPA, so maybe substance use is, detrimental to your grade. So you're going to select drinking, and you're going to drag it down to row labels, and then you're going to select GPA, and you're going to drag down to your values. But you want the average right? Because the sum of GPA is just summing up everything, so you don't want that. So what you do is under value field settings, again, you click on average. And I don't want the blanks, so I'm just going to unclick that. Unless there's some reason for you to think that the students with the missing data, there's something there. Maybe they didn't go because they have missed school for a lot of days. So sometimes missing data tells you stuff as well. But here, so from our code book, what did a 2 mean? No. And what did a 1 mean? Yes. So it looks like it's pretty much a wash, the average of GPA. Yes, which I unclicked because I was just saying, like, sometimes I was just not interested in the blank one, but sometimes blank missing data can tell you something. Yeah, go ahead. Your values are different? Let's see.
Yeah, we all have that.
Yeah, and this is not what I had entered initially, like in my practice run, so I don't know either what's going on. So that's a great question. Average, let's see. I think it might be here. When I was giving the examples, I think I changed some stuff with the drinking, some of the data, just to illustrate the changes, and I think that's what I'm drawing from a different data. Yeah, just the values are different, because I think when we're doing the drinking part, I was like changing things around so you could illustrate the VLOOKUPs, how they can really, so I think that's what it is, because it's not looking like what I did either. Yeah, no, for sure.
How do you do the 2 percentage point thing again?
So you can do by selecting here, and then you make sure that you have right there, it's a number. So if you click here, it's going to give you many different ways to categorize your data. So if you want general is usually like when you have like letters, and then number is for a number, and then it gives you immediately a couple decimal places. And then let's say you select number, and then right under number right there, you see the little zeros and the little arrow. So if you want fewer zeros, you click on this one. If you want more zeros, or decimal places, you click on the other one. So if we go back to the pivot tables, and let's say this is my incorrect average GPA by drinking. Yeah, because I was like, actually, I think in my original data set, if you have ever drank, your GPA is lower, right? Yeah, okay, I just wanted it to be intuitive. Yeah, okay. So what I do, again, pivot tables, there's so much more that you can do that, I can't even scratch the surface, but what I really do is for quick summaries. You're on the phone, somebody's asking you, what is the median, what is the average, what is the percentage? That's how I do it. I don't need to count everything and so on. But there's, way more beautiful ways to develop stuff. And, if you end up spending a lot of time with pivot tables, I'm sure you get it. But it's just to show you the potential, and just, it's a great tool. But what I'm going to do is, so what I just did is I just pasted special, again, to my summary table, the average GPAs by drinking, because I want to graph that. But again, the problem is also, like, if you're doing the pivot tables for your quick summary data, and if you do, because under pivot tables right here, it gives you the option, where is it? It gives you the option, it actually gives you the option to insert, to have like actual graphs through the pivot table. But the problem is, again, if you're using that as a summary and if you change things around, your beautiful graph is gone. So that's why I don't like to do graphing from the pivot table. I prefer to extract the data, remove it from the link with the raw data, and I graph it there. You see, because, if somebody else came here and I have this beautiful graph tied to this pivot table, and somebody else came here and said, oh, I don't want to see drinking, I want to see by gender, your beautiful graph is gone because it's linked to this very dynamic tool. So I'm going back to my, and you can call this like snapshot, because that's your snapshot table tab that you're just getting stuff and you're summarizing. And here again, drinking, I'm going to just put drink. 2 is no, 1 is yes. Average GPA, I'm going to put this as a number. I'm just cleaning up the stuff that I brought from pivot tables so that I can graph a little more easier. Do you guys all have this? And I'm going to delete this grand total row right here just because it's going to give me trouble a little bit to graph it. So this is what it is. What you can do is when you want to delete it, a whole row, you just click on the number instead of a cell. So it's going to automatically select the whole row. And I'm going to left click it, and put delete. Oh, are you guys working with the pivot tables? Because I'm working now with the snapshot tab. Did you copy and paste special values only?
I just did. Special and actually see values.
Okay, let's see.
Because like the values only is a function that extracts just cleans up. Okay, so here what you can do is, so we have this beautiful summary, so what you can do is select everything like it is, and then you right click and copy. And you right click and paste it. It's paste options, and now it cleaned up all the stuff they had.
So I think if we just do paste options, maybe without saying values only, it automatically does the pivot.
Yes, yeah.
So you're saying it has
So
to be
just go here and select, just select A and B. Actually, select, if you come out of there, yeah, and just here, wait, yeah. So you see when it goes like this, and now you select everything. It just drag it there. But this is good. And then you right click, and you just copy. And now you go back to that little one right there, yeah, then you right click.
Like that,
Yeah, you can do that. Try it out. Right click again, and then paste special. Right. Right there. So you've cleaned up all your formulas.
okay. So now I should do.
Yes, so everything now is clean. It's not linked to your original file. You can use this, anywhere. So now I'm going to graph this. This is my final thing. I'm going to first select the data, and then under Insert up here, I'm going to select Columns, and I'm going to put a 2D column. So Insert, Column, and then 2D. 3D, at least like every class that I've taken on graphing, people have always just don't. It really doesn't tell you much more information unless you do have like 3-dimensional data, data that is much more complex, right? You don't need it. It's just a waste of.
We don't have columns, we have recommended charts. Should we use that?
Yeah. See what Excel's offering you.
It's not 3D.
Yeah, good. So you just click on it, and there you have it. For students that have drank, and this is there's a lot of stuff that you can do here. It's just the beauty of math. If you, for instance, right now, you can see that then my scale on the y-axis is super small. So it really highlights the difference. If you change the scale of your y-axis, so if you go under the y-axis right here and you right-click on it and you put Format Axis, you guys can see that? If you click Format Axis, and then if you go and here you can say the major unit. If you can put here on the major unit, instead of auto, you put fixed. If you put 0.5 and you click, look, now it looks like there's no difference. Or it looks like the difference is much smaller because you changed the scale of your y. Let me change again for you. So you go right here on your y-axis, you right-click on it. You right-click on it, and it's going to give you Format Axis. You click on it, and then under Axis Options, the third one is Major Unit, and there's Auto, and there's Fixed.
Yeah, but you can just change it. Instead of putting 6, you can just change the number.
Okay. No?
It's just a different.
Is this a different? Did you guys get it?
Yeah, so you can just do the same thing. You just put it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the smaller the unit there, the more it's going to emphasize the tiny difference. The bigger the unit, the more it's going to look like it's the same. So this is the power to really, create graphs that will tell the story that you want to tell. Because they say one picture, speaks more than 1,000 words. There's the way to really, there's a huge inequality gap or whatever, or to downplay it, So sometimes we see people arguing over the same thing at completely two different sides.
Yeah, like if you put it at 20, it looks almost the exact.
Exactly. So, and you can click on series, let's say, because it's not series, it makes no sense. You can click on it, you can delete it. You can play around, for instance, if you click on these little guys right there, you can just delete them. Let's say if you're trying to save ink, you want to minimize the amount of things that you're printing, or you really want to highlight just the difference itself. At least a couple of the classes that I've taken on this stuff, they really try to minimize ink to really highlight the main point that you want to say. For instance here, it looks like it's a really big difference, right? But what if I clicked on the things right there, on the bars, and I right click on it and I say add data labels? You see right there? So now, my beautiful picture, it's sort of now looks like, actually it might be better not to put data labels, because now I see that the difference is not really that big, even though the bars look very different, So you can decide if you want data labels, if you don't want data labels, really what's the story you're trying to tell with this data. And I'm just going to go back to right click.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I see how you can change the color of the bar.
Uh-huh.
But it's changing both of the colors. Is there a way that I could make yes, green, and no?
Yes. Yeah, what you do is, you see when you first click, it selects both. If you click again on just one, it will unselect the other one. And it will just select the one that you clicked. So then if you right click now, you can change the color.
So if you do what?
Okay, so for instance right now, nothing is clicked, right? And so I just want to, so the first time I click on the bars, both are selected.
Yeah.
So if I click again on just the bar that I'm trying to change,
Okay.
it just clicks on yours. The one you want to do.
And we can do both.
You can do colors. Yeah, you can really highlight the differences. You can really not. It's up to you. Okay, so now for the printing setup. And I'm just going to zoom out a little bit just so that we can see. Let's say, sorry. This is like sometimes when, depending where you click on the graph, it shifts things around inside, but I just want to move my graph down here. So let's say you're going to a meeting, you need to give an update on this data that you're collecting, you need a summary, you've been tracking this, this is the latest stuff, January 20th, you want to print real quick. So what you're going to do is you're going to select the stuff you want to print. So this is the stuff that I want to print. It doesn't look beautiful, and you can make things, much better. You can play around that. But you go under page layout now that it's selected, the stuff you want. You guys have a page layout, or probably something completely different. And then under print area, what you're going to do is set print area. So it's just going to print that. And you can see that all of a sudden now Excel gives you a little thingy that it tells you where to print. So if you put something here like my coworkers suck and you print, that is not going. And I've seen, people that printed more than they wanted, not that terrible, but you can, if you haven't set your print area, you can see other stuff that you might not want to share. So just select what you want to print. And then what you can do is under File, Print, it will show you what you have selected, right? So you can get a visual inspection before you print the stuff. And then I go to Home again. And let's say that you have a lot of data and you want it to, it's going to go over beyond 2 pages, right? Or beyond 1 page. So when you go to page layout and you have the print titles right there, if you click on it, it's going to tell you, let's say, rows to repeat at the top. So if you say, let's say you have all the raw data, you have 5 pages of raw data, you have 400 participants, and you want the title of the variables to be in every page so that when you're looking by page 4, you're like, oh, what is a 4 for? Is that age? Is that GPA? I don't know. You want the row labels, the variable labels in every page. That's where you go. Rows to print at the top. So if I click on it right here, if you click on the little, spreadsheet thing, and then I select right here, it's giving me sort of like a arrow, like a different arrow, and I select this. You see that it's now squiggly, and you press Enter, and you press OK. This is the table that this is the row that it's going to repeat every time. So let's say that if you were to change now, like select a little more down here, and you set print area. And you can see that Excel is so nice in that sense. You can see that now it's telling you that this stuff is going to go on page 2. You see right there, there's a little dark line. So if you go under File and Print, it now gives you 2 pages because you selected more. And if you go here on page 2, you can see that your date or the thing that I want to repeat in every page is there, even though you have a blank page. You guys all got it?
Mine wasn't there.
Which one, your row?
Report 120. It wasn't on the second page.
It wasn't on the page number 2?
No.
Let's see what you did.
Maybe you can drag it down further.
Do you have 2 pages?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So let's go to page layout, and then let's see print titles. Let's see rows to repeat, and at the top. Oh, is it? Yeah.
And the last thing with the printing setup, so unlike Microsoft Word, Excel doesn't give you squiggly lines for spell mistakes. So you're not going to see. So if you made any egregious mistakes in spelling, you're not going to catch it. You know, Excel is not going to be like, hey, fix this. So, like, I would say just develop like a muscle memory. Every time before you click print, you click review spelling. Just every time. Just make it like a reflex. Because it's not going to, and believe me, you know, English is not my first language. I'm not an amazing speller. I've looked way dumber than I needed to look in a lot of situations. So just review spelling. It can help you save face, for sure. So we're almost at time, and I can teach you guys one more function, which is the if statement, which is like a logic statement. But I also can show you guys like more like simple like stuff that I think it's actually better. Let's do the other. The if statements are great, but they can be really, you can get that stuff much easier in other ways. And it's like real logic stuff that sometimes it just doesn't apply. So I'm just going to do stuff that is just more interesting. So this is the extra. And this is from a real life thing that I just found out how to do this last year. So I was working at the Brazilian secretary, like a subdivision, like a state health department, state health department. And I kid you not, this place was like the strategic department, and there were 6 people in the department. 2 were for the strategic part, and 4 were for cleaning Excel data. Because they had to do a lot of reporting, and their files didn't talk to each other, and they had to combine files from all these places to do like strategic meetings and strategic updates. And it was 4 people that were just like cleaning up data. It was like heartbreaking to see how much effort they were putting on that stuff, that it was like really not that meaningful. Go ahead.
I have a question on that. When someone says they're cleaning the data, what does that mean exactly?
So cleaning the data, so it's actually what we just did. You know, so you're giving a data set. There's like missing variables. There's stuff that might not be correct because, you know, let's say it's 15 students and there's data for other students. So it's all data cleaning, you know, merging tables, correcting stuff that might be incorrect. This is all data cleaning. Or like, for instance, so I just found this out. So, and sometimes it happens like if you have like from output from other statistics software, especially like Stata and SAS. So you're giving this, and you guys don't have that tab. I just put that in here just because it's like it's a very dear thing to my heart now. But you're giving this, and you have, you know, like for instance, if you're going to, oops, sorry, let me close this. So you see that there's like gaps. Somebody copied and pasted, maybe it was from Word, maybe it's from a different file, and there's all these gaps. These gaps are the worst to do anything, you know, because it's going to mess up your pivot tables. If you come under data and you put filter, it doesn't get all the way to the bottom. It just goes to Smith. And I have, you know, Julia Roberts all the way there. It's the worst. So, thanks to Max, who's in Cuiabá right now, we worked on this together. So this is how you can clean this real quick. So you just select the stuff that you're trying to clean, and then you click filter. So it's now going to go everywhere. It's really going to go down to the bottom there. And then you come here, and you see that now it has everybody. It's not just down to Smith. You cut the select all, and you just go to blanks. And now it's just, you remember how we did this for the, NA to clean it up? It's now just getting to those folks. And then I come here and I select those rows. And then I right click and I say delete rows. So then now when I unpress the filter, Max was saying, like, you saved us 2 weeks of work. I mean, it wasn't me. We found this out together, actually, because he was the one that figured out that you had to select the whole table. But it was, like, so amazing, and I just wanted to share with you guys because I'm sure, you're going to find this. This is like data cleaning, Sometimes the data is just not going to come the way you want it to be. And then the other one that it's really good, too, it's the function called concatenate. So this function is, the example here is you have first name and last name, but you want to create a variable that says full name, right? So what you do is you click equals and you click concatenate, and I don't even know if that's how you say it, and then text 1, comma, text 2, enter, and now you have Joe Smith. And let's say, you don't want to, and this is for anything, right? Let's say you have like a zip code or like a phone number that it's split. And here you have Joe Smith this way, right? And maybe you want a comma to separate them. So what I would do is I would just come here and create a new tab, and I would just click like this. And you can, just drag it down. And then I come here again, and under concatenate, in between A2 and B2, I'm going to put D2 and comma again, and now there's a comma. And you can just drag it down again, and now you have all the names. So that's a great concatenate. It's a great function to, add stuff up. Another way that you can do this, instead of a comma, it's like super tricky, but you just go to that cell and you just give it a little space and you press enter and you see that now there's a little space. Excel is so sensitive to this stuff. And if I click like this, it just gets everybody. You can't see, when you look at a cell, you can't see that there's something there. It's just a little space. And then 2 more little tricks that are really helpful too. The other one is, let's say you want to enter a negative value. So you want to say just -1. If you do that, actually you want to say just equal 1 for some reason. If you do, well, it's actually, you don't need my trick because it's, you do want to equal 1 and you want the equal sign to show up, because if you do like that and you click enter, the equal disappears. But you want to have the equal sign. What you do is before the equal, you put a little thing like that. I don't know what's that called in English. Just a little, and you click enter, and now the equal's there.
Sorry, how did you do the concatenate thing?
Yeah.
I was still deleting the spaces when you were doing that.
Uh-huh.
So you just did equals concatenate, and then I have hashtag name question mark.
Okay, so here. So you have the 2 columns, right? And I'm just going to clean this up. So equal, concatenate.
You select
Oops, sorry.
You select the columns first?
No, you start with the formula, and then you select the first cell. So you see that now I have A2, and then I click comma, and I select the second cell. And I close the parenthesis, and I click enter. So these are some tricks. I hope that this helps. Oh, the last one. Sorry, guys. I might be piling up. But let's say another thing that it was like, let's say you want 2 things in the same cell, but one on top of the other. So you want Julia Roberts in one cell, but one on top of the other. So you click out, enter, and now you have Julia and Roberts. So out, enter gives you another space inside the same cell. So out is on your, should be there in your,
Also, out enter will give you, yeah, will give you another space under the same cell.
yeah, no, this one is,
Just to hold them up.
yeah, at the same time. So it just gives you another line inside the same cell. All right, sorry if I just like brain dump these things on you. So since we're almost out of time, so tips, this is just a review of everything, again, avoid excessive scrolling when you're doing data entry, opening and closing multiple windows. You want to really just have everything that you need in the same place. You can error-proof by doing the data validation, the drop-down menus, like I said, and like using the filter tool to pick up on the craziest mistakes, stuff that really doesn't belong there for the data cleaning. For the analysis, become super familiar with your data set. You really want to review the code books. You want to know what a 2 means, what a 1 means. You want to be able to, even if you print the code book and just have it by your side so that you're never confused. Oh, is that a 1, a male, and so on. And then create pivot tables to summarize the raw data. You saw how pivot tables can be super helpful to just get you a snapshot of the stuff you need. For the reporting, again, always run the spell check before you print anything. And you set the print area and you check the print preview to make sure that there's nothing broken, there's nothing kind of, loose. And then my personal favorites, and we're going to probably share, I don't know if you already got the presentation, but this is the out enter that I told you. And then to do the little, I just don't know the name of this thing, but this little thing so that you can have these values and it doesn't give you, Excel doesn't look at these as mathematical things, but as just symbols. And then join the 2 cells, you use the function concatenate. And if you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to email me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for sitting through all this today. I hope it was helpful to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.